Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the onboard training for Gusto College's new teachers through American College of Educators course DL 5723 Applied Learning Theories in Instructional Design. We are starting today with a 1 hour training on diversity and inclusion. My name is Art Newman, and I will be your instructor today. The learning theory that we're going to be looking at throughout these lessons on diversity and inclusion is constructivism. In constructivism, students perform an active role in carrying out experiments and draw up their own results. Teachers assist the students in expanding on new awareness and connecting them with previous knowledge, but leave the analysis up to the students. The first activity is an icebreaker activity that will take between 10 to 15 minutes. It's a getting to know you activity for our coworkers. So we're going to make a list of favorites, favorite movies, favorite television shows, favorite foods, music, sports, hobbies, and we're going to share them in breakout groups with other colleagues to find connections. We all have favorite movies and television shows. We all have favorite things that we can look at and all have different things that we can share together. It's very possible that many of us in these breakout rooms will have very similar and shared experiences. When that is over, we're going to get back together again as a large group and talk about our findings with the large group. Again, in breakout groups for approximately 10 minutes, we're going to ask the question of what are the technology differences in the cell phone over the course of the last 30 years? And how is this diversity and inclusion? What changes have been made to the cell phone over its evolution? How did apps change the functioning of cell phones? What app companies were founded in the past 20 years, 10 years, 5 years? And how have cell phones changed the way that we communicate? And again, what does that have to do with diversity and inclusion? We'll come back together again, and one person from each group will share what they have found together as a group. The other question based on that is how have societal attitudes changed in the last 20 years? Since 2003. In 2003, we were 2 years removed in the United States from the September 11th attacks and was just beginning a war with Iraq. So, in the last 20 years, how have societal attitudes changed since 2003? And again, what does this have to do with diversity and inclusion? What cultural norms have changed? How has education changed, especially again with the cell phone, as well as with online learning and COVID-19? How have the views on sexual orientation changed with gay and lesbian marriage? How have people with disabilities been impacted by our society with more mainstream classes? How have views on religion changed? And how have race relations changed, again, especially since the Black Lives Matter movement that began approximately 2014? And finally, we have a 20-minute implicit bias role play. And this is again the question of diversity and inclusion. In breakout groups, once we meet again, each person in the group will read and discuss 5 scenarios based on implicit bias. Each group will discuss the biases present and in the scenario and describe how a student is impacted by those biases. If we look at all 3 of the different role plays and the role plays that we're doing and the questions of cell phones, this question of societal norms, and the bias role play, we can see how all 3 are all interconnected with diversity and inclusion. And the closure. Please fill out the exit ticket. The questions: do you feel Gusto College is meeting the needs of our diversity and inclusion? Yes or no, and why? And what would you like to see Gusto College do in the future to make the school more diversity and inclusive friendly? Thank you very much.